Okay, so we're gonna test it to see if you're smarter than a 5th grader, okay? Okay. What is the double-blind method?
It is when the researcher and the participant don't know if they're either taking the placebo or the supplement.
Wow, you actually got, or, well, treatment. But pretty much you got that right.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Second question. What is the difference between a control group and a treatment group?
Control group. So when you have like your dependent variable, your control group is like your baseline to what your treatment group has like the different. No, redo the video.
No, we're not redoing. This is one take. And you got that one wrong. Okay, a control group has the same qualities as the treatment group, except the treatment group receives the treatment. So they're both pretty much the same.
I was getting there.
Hey guys, this is Alicia and I'm with my roommate, Christy. Okay, Christy, I'm gonna ask you a really quick question about anatomy. What do you think tissues are composed of?
I think they're composed of cells.
Wow, you're really smart. Now, let's see a longer explanation on why this is. So, according to the hierarchy of complexity, organisms are contained of organ systems. Organ systems are contained of organs. Organs are contained of many tissues. Tissues are contained of cells. And cells have little organelles inside of them, and these organelles are made up of molecules, and inside these molecules are atoms. Hey guys, it's Alicia again, and I'm with my other roommate, Sammy. Okay, Sammy, I'm gonna ask you a really quick question about anatomy.
Okay.
In your best words, can you explain what anatomical variation is?
Ooh. I'm guessing it's that no one is the same. Like every body part is different.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good explanation.
Yeah.
Now let's go see an even better explanation. So even though most images in the textbook look the same and pretty much standard across all textbooks, in real life, this is not the case. People's body parts, organs vary in size and shape and the way that they're structured, even if it's non-pathological or not harmful. For example, a lot of people, if I go like this, there's like a prominent palmaris longus muscle right there. But actually in my other arm, there's no prominent palmaris longus muscle. And so that's an example of anatomical variation, is that some people have this palmaris longus muscle, some people don't. Some people have it on both hands, and it's not harmful, but different in everyone.
Okay, so what is the difference between anatomy and physiology?
Anatomy is like the body parts, and then physiology is like, oh, how do those body parts like work together, like the processes in the body.
Okay, yeah. And then what are 2 ways you can examine the human body?
You can examine the human body like an X-ray or like a stethoscope, and you can like hear the heart.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Anatomy means the study of structure, and physiology means the study of function. These 2 concepts make up the health sciences and closely tie into one another. Anatomy supports the understanding of physiology and vice versa. Some ways to examine the human body include palpation, which is feeling a structure with the hands, auscultation, which is listening to bodily sounds, percussion, which is tapping on the body or listening for sounds of abnormalities, and dissection, which is cutting and separating tissues in order to get a deeper look internally.
What are 2 languages that were used to create most medical terms?
Probably English, and I'm gonna say maybe like some like Latin origin. Yeah.
Okay, and then what are eponyms?
I'm gonna say that is like a medication.
Okay, cool, thank you.
About 90% of medical terms are formed from about 1,200 Greek and Latin roots. Medical terms are mainly rooted in these languages because studying science began in ancient Greece and then spread to Rome. Medical terms that are based on the names of people are called eponyms, however, they do not indicate what a structure or a condition is. So anatomists began meeting in 1985 to create international medical terminology. Scientific terms are usually made up of at least one root which contain the main meaning of a word, combining vowels that make words easier to pronounce, a prefix, and a suffix.
Hi guys, I'm with my friend Amanda. Hello. We're going to answer some questions. Okay, Amanda, which philosopher was the first to write about anatomy?
I don't know. Can I say I don't know?
Yeah, you can say
Okay, I don't know.
We'll explain that later. So the first philosopher to talk about anatomy was actually Aristotle. So he talked about different things. So one of the things he talked about was comparative anatomy, which is basically the grouping of animals into their internal and external characteristics. And he also talked about organs and their functions. He tried to define what each organ does and like what their mechanisms are. And then he also talked about reproduction and development. So a lot of contributions there, a lot of foundations raised for anatomy.
Hurry into Bone Zone because this week only we have special deals. Need some extra strength? Try our long bones like the femur and humerus for just $10. Need some more balance or stability? Don't miss out on your chance to get short bones. Wrists and ankles are 50% off. Looking for some more protection? We have just the thing. Flat bones including the skull and sternum will have you covered. Buy 1 red blood cells free from the bone marrow. And for all things unique, we have an array of irregular bones including the vertebrae and pelvis. Oops, almost forgot. We have a limited stock of sesamoid bones to ensure some extra protection from wear and tear. So get moving. Sales only last up until October 31st.
Do you know who Robert Hooke is? Who's Robert Hooke and what were his contributions to science?
I don't know who Robert Hooke is either, y'all.
It's totally fine. We'll explain that in the video later too. So who's Robert Hooke and what was his contribution to science? So Robert Hooke was a modern scientist and his contribution to science was creating the scientific tools like, for example, the microscope, which helped in the development of microbiology to study little organisms that we can't really see with our own eyes.
Do you think you're smarter than a 5th grader?
Yes,
Okay, can you name 3 of the 8 characteristics of life?
I can. Homeostasis, reproduction, and having 1 or more cells.
Congratulations! Let's take a deeper look into the 8 characteristics of life. These characteristics are organization, cellular composition, metabolism, responsiveness and movement, homeostasis, growth and development, reproduction, and evolution. Let's start off with organization. This refers to the highly ordered structure that living things maintain. In humans, the hierarchical level of organization from simplest to most complex are atoms, which are the basic chemical units, molecules, which are combinations of atoms, organelles are specialized structures within the cell, for example, the mitochondria, which we all know is the powerhouse of the cell. Next is cells, which are the smallest unit of life. Moving on to tissues, which are groups of similar cells working together, which we will discuss more in depth in our next video. Next up is organs. These are structures made up of different tissues that perform specific functions. Next is organ systems, which is a group of organs working together. And last is an organism, which is a complete living being. The second characteristic of life is cellular composition, and this basically just says that all living things must be made up of 1 or more cells. Third, we have metabolism. This refers to chemical reactions within a living organism. Living things must be able to take molecules from their environment and chemically change them into molecules that form their own structures, control their physiology, or provide them with energy. Another important thing to note about metabolism is turnover. This means that every molecule in your body is replaced every year. The fourth characteristic of life is responsiveness and movement. This is the ability to sense and react to stimuli. This occurs on all levels, from a singular cell to the entire body. While most organisms are capable of self-propelled movement from place to place, other organisms are only capable of moving substances internally, such as moving food through the digestive tract. Number 5 is homeostasis. Although the environment around organisms is constantly changing and evolving, all living organisms are capable of maintaining relatively stable internal conditions such as body temperature, blood pressure, and body weight. The ability to do this is called homeostasis. Number 6 is growth and development. Any change in form or function over the lifetime of an organism is defined by this characteristic of life. This involves 2 major processes. The first one is differentiation, and this says that the transformation of cells with no specialized functions will transform into cells that are committed to a particular task. And the second one is growth, which basically means that an organism will increase in size over time. Number 7 is reproduction. All living organisms will produce copies of themselves and pass their genes down to their offspring. And last but not least, number 8 is evolution. All living things exhibit genetic change from generation to generation, and therefore they evolve. This occurs because mutations, which is change in DNA structures, is inevitable. Do you think you're smarter than a 5th grader?
I hope so.
Can you tell me what natural selection is?
Natural selection?
Yeah.
No.
Great, then let's talk about it. Evolution works largely through the principle of natural selection. So, what is natural selection? Simply put, this is just survival of the fittest. Some individuals will have hereditary advantages over their competitors, such as better camouflage or disease resistance. These advantages are then passed to their offspring, and therefore these characteristics are more common in successive generations. This ultimately allows for genetic changes in a population that constitutes evolution.